Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop and Pop, which is March 5th to the 7th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia, and Ranger Stock Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to rangerstop.com for more info.
Miss Dungey, how's quarantine life?
Kia ora. Well, our quarantine is pretty darn good, I gotta say. We can sort of do anything, go anywhere. I came back from a weekend in the South Island, flew down there, and I actually bought some masks because I thought, oh, okay, maybe people will have masks on the plane, and it's like, no one had a mask on, so I thought, oh, okay. I mean, we've got an app on our phone, and when we go places, you do the little app on the little code thing, so you can be sort of tracked and traced, basically. But yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Hello, guys. Welcome to a special live stream episode of Morphin Network. We have a very special guest, Lori Dungey. She is the voice actor, a veteran voice actor in the Power Ranger franchise. She is known to play Beevil from Power Rangers Ninja Storm, Lois Boom from Power Rangers SPD, Miss Bell from Power Rangers Ninja Steel, Screamer from Power Rangers Mystic Force, Quasar from Operation Overdrive, and this is Gamertron from Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and Memorilla from Power Rangers Dino Charge, and many more. So, Lori, thank you so much for being part of this interview.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
So, Lori, can you tell us how you started with acting?
Yes. How did I start out acting?
Yes.
Yeah. Many years ago. I just was like a lot of kids that get into acting. I liked it in high school, did the high school plays and all that sort of hoo-for-ah. And then I went to university. And while I was there in university, there was a professional group of improvisers that were performing downtown. This is in Vancouver, Canada. And so they needed some more women. Women in improv often, they were always short of women. So I said, well, okay. So I did a couple of rehearsals of this improvisational form called theater sports. And went and played and loved it, and so became a member of that troupe, and we eventually got our own theater, and we're doing 8 shows a week and all different kinds of improvisation. And then I was also, like all actors, you freelance for voices, movies, ads, TV, whatever's going, teaching, anything. Lots of things equal your salary. And then in 1990, I came to New Zealand. They were hosting an international expo. And so we came and did a big tournament with all sorts of improvisers from around the world. And then I got asked to be the artistic director of an improv company in Wellington that was starting up. So I thought, well, I haven't done that. I'm so far away. If it all goes badly, no one will know. And then so it was supposed to be for a year, and that was 30 years ago. So so now I'm based in Auckland and help run a company called Con Artists, and we do a lot of conferencing for conferences and conventions, and then freelance stuff. Yeah, so that's and it's just been ticking along. So yeah, I'm very fortunate, because lots of actors can't make a living doing acting, but I'm able to cobble enough things together to make that happen. Yeah.
Nice.
How did you get started with voiceovers and voice acting?
Well, it's generally when you get an agent, your agent represents you for voice auditions as well. I know in the States, everyone has a separate agent for this and that, but in New Zealand, oftentimes it's the same agent. So I would go out for some stuff, and sometimes having a an American Canadian accent was an advantage for people doing American stuff here. And then my partner at the time, he got involved in Power Rangers, doing the in the part of the Loop group, and then basically became the ADR supervisor. So I then became the Loop group captain, and it kind of just went from there.
No.
Yeah. And
Nice.
do I need to explain sort of what the whole Loop group thing is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Feel free.
The Loop group is we do the background sound, not like footprints or doors opening, because that's Foley, which they often do in their shorts and no tops on if they're guys, so nothing makes any noise of friction, and the room is full of junk, and they just make up, oh, this is the sound of something, and so they're just quite creative. There's they have stuff that they pick up and they just rub together, bang together, and it's like, oh my God, that sounds like a car door opening. But we're the ones that do the people sitting at a cafe having a chat, people in a park, and then of course all the many people that run screaming from the monsters. So we do all of that, because that doesn't even get recorded when they're filming. So you go into a studio, we have the TV screen, and the cues are all lined up, and then you do whatever's necessary in that moment. And
I think I've heard of that. Is it called wallowing? Like when it's called wallowing when like you're in a crowded room and you hear all the people talking?
Yeah, we call that, if it's the talking stuff, it's called walla. And what you do is you lay a bed of walla, which is just generic, and then you go back and you do the specifics where you see people's mouths moving, or there might be someone might call to someone who's not an actor, because an actor will come and do their own. But the walla that we do for Power Rangers, they're very clever. It's made up. It's not specific. You're not going, oh, hey, how's it going? Or it's really nice out today. It's more a made up, nonsensical language. Like, oh, it's because then what they do is it's so low, no one can hear anything specific. So that bed of walla gets recorded, and that's sent out all over the world to all the different languages that Power Rangers gets shown in.
Nice.
And in the studio, the call outs, the more specific things, which might be someone going, hello, or might be, hola. They would do that in the country of that origin, of that language. So, yeah, so it's all these like little funny little, things that are, and yeah. So, yeah, that's all that sort of background. And then a lot of times you have to scream. And so they separate the men and the women, and they'll record them separately, then edit them together. And it's sort of it's quite a complex process. But, and I swear to God, there'll be times I'm listening to a show and it's like, can't hear anything that we're actually have spent hours doing.
So, going through Power Rangers, can you tell us what the listening process was like for Power Rangers?
Basically, you get the call from your agent. They'll send you a script. Sometimes they'll just make it up, because sometimes the dialogue won't be enough dialogue to really have a really good feel of what the voice is doing. And basically, you just go into the sound studio. You're in the booth. They show you the image, and then they might play you a bit of the episode where that monster is. And then you just do what you think is a good version of that. Like, you should come with some idea of what it might sound like. And then you put that down where they'll record it. And then they might say, no, do that differently, do this differently, and re-record it. And you might have 2 or 3 sort of takes that they like, and then basically that gets sent over to the producers overseas, over in LA or here in Auckland where it's filmed, and then they go yes or no weeks later. Yeah, and then you go in and you repeat the process, but generally it takes longer.
What was the experience like while filming Power Rangers? And but also, do you have like a favorite monster like that you voiced too?
I tell you, they almost sound the same. They're all kind of they're all kind of just shout as much as you can. I'm just trying to think which one. Sometimes Quasar I kind of liked. I thought that was, I got to shout more at that one. But sometimes I just really like, sometimes you're the voice of the computer.
RPM. Wait, was that you? I knew it was you. I knew.
And then that's done also in the Luke group, where you just, and it's just like, try to find the most monotone voice you can. And it's kind of that, yeah. I mean, I think the funnest I had probably was when I got my wig yanked off. That was that was really cool. I'd never done something where I had such a big effect, done on me. So that was quite nutty. And it spent so much time putting the wig on and then yanked it off. That was good fun because I really like the director, Oliver Driver. I really adore him. So we've improvised for years together. So he's now a big shot director. So it's like I taught him improv and he was like, a teenager. So he was very good and he paid it forward. He said to me afterwards, he said, they gave me a list of about 5 names. And they said, we don't really want to audition because we know these people are all capable. And he said, he saw my name and he just went, well, that one, he said, I don't actually even know who else was on the list. So I went, thank you, Oliver, and keep that up. so I was very grateful that he, he could use his considerable directorial power and cast me. And I didn't even audition.
Oh, nice.
So that was kind of nice. Because Power Rangers does bring some people back, so that's kind of cool.
This is a fan's question. Now we know that you're very famous for this role. I'll put it back here again. You voiced Beeble from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. She's actually one of the more famous villains in the Disney era. Can you tell us the process of looking for a voice or doing Beeble?
It's just I'd sort of start with the and then just try and expand it because it's got to be clear. It's got to be clear enough to be heard, and it's got to be evil, but not too evil. Because it's interesting that in Power Rangers, I was told this because I said, why aren't there any more? There's so few women baddies. I said, that's insane. There's so many baddies. And they said, well, it's because basically they take the Japanese version and they use a lot of the same costumes and even some of the same footage will be just edited in. When they go large, a lot of that footage is Japanese footage that they just edit in. That culturally, women are not perceived as evil. So that's why there's hardly any women's evil parts, which I thought, cut that out. But bless them for thinking that. But yeah, so you have to be evil, but not too evil. It's a fine line. But yeah, they all have this kind of sort of element to them that's aggressive, obviously. So yeah.
Aside from Beevil, was there any other characters you liked playing on the show? Even human characters? Or-
Yeah, I love playing Kelson's mom.
One.
Yeah, I love that because I love the actor that played my husband. We got along really well, and it was just it was fun, and we actually got to go. We were on the set, which actually isn't all that far from where I live. And then we also got to go on location. So it was kind of it was like, oh, you really sort of got a feeling of that, oh, I'm a part of what's going on, which was nice. And I even did blue screen, which I hadn't done before, which in Power Rangers, like a lot of films, they have the second unit that do a lot of the stunt stuff, and that director is a fantastic. What's his name? I can't remember his first name. I can't remember his name. I'm so horrible. Lovely Japanese director, and I was at a blue screen. I was pretending to be a holograph in a like a telephone conversation with my son. And so basically, someone's going to say action. I start yapping. That's it. And it's just me in this big studio with a screen behind me, just like this, with a green screen or blue screen behind me. And just talking in this goofy little conversation with my son. And the director, I only met him sort of like, oh, hello. And because he wasn't the director for all the other stuff, that was another director. So he was way far away, because oftentimes they watch you on a monitor, and that monitor can be anywhere. It doesn't even have to be in the same room. But he was like way at the back of this huge set. And because they hang things, and there's, cranes and all this sort of stuff. So then there's me just on this little tiny black box with the green screen. And then all I hear is I'm sort of waiting with my time. And you're always nervous because it's like, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. And all I hear is this. And then it comes again. Shit. I have no idea I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point. And there was like a boom, a guy with a boom with it's a microphone on a pole, so they can suspend it above your head, so they don't need to put a little microphone on you. They have the sound coming from above. And so this guy, he's the closest guy to me, and he goes, he's saying action. Oh, of course he is. And, it was like, when I think about it, I feel like, of course he was, saying action. But it was so in Japanese, and he had it was his kind of thing that he loved to really shout this really dynamic. And I just kind of thought, oh my God, I'm in the wrong spot. I should be someplace, something has gone dreadfully wrong. So I was like a stunned mullet, just kind of like, and then finally it was like, oh, okay, sorry. It's like I can hardly see him. He's so far away, but I could hear him. And so then he did it again, and it was all fine. But it was sort of a moment of sort of terror when it's like, it's only you. There's no one else to blame or look around for support. So yeah. So that was an experience. Went, oh, okay. Probably good to ask other people ahead of time. How does this director kind of work? What's he? Yeah.
Was it the stunt director?
What's that?
Was this a stunt director?
He was a stunt. I can't remember his name.
I think I know what it is. I think it's Koichi. Sakamoto, yeah, it's Koichi.
Yeah. A really lovely man, just absolutely lovely. And that's been, Power Rangers has been a fantastic thing for a lot of those, because a lot of stunt people came from Japan, and now they've got families here, they've got kids. I don't think they're leaving New Zealand. They've been here for because Power Rangers has been here for a really long time.
Yeah, since 2003.
Yeah. So these kids have grown up as Kiwis, the offspring of these stunt people. So yeah, so it's been a real kind of big family that's just kind of grown, and I know that you'll come across other people that were like, oh, it's the same coffee guy. You might do a TV show, it's the same coffee guy, or it's the same wardrobe, or it employs so many people ongoing, all the time, because they're getting ready now to start up again soon.
Yes.
Yep.
You did tell me that you were a ukulele player. Can you tell us how did you get interested in becoming a ukulele player?
Well, you're always looking for new and different things as a performer, and I thought it might be good if I learn the ukulele, and then I can do other things. So I attended some lessons, and then lockdown happened, and so we all went to Zoom. So we were taking our lessons every Sunday by Zoom, and I did. The only song I could play through at that time was, I taught myself Vera Lynn's "Don't Know How, Don't Know When We'll Be Together Again." When lockdown, Mother's Day occurred, and I thought, and I play the character of the Queen. I've got all the gear. I've got the corgi. I've got the everything, and so I basically offered. I put out a Zoom ad saying, "I'll come on Zoom and greet your mother on Mother's Day as the Queen, a mother," and then I also played Vera Lynn's song for their mothers, who. So I did a few of those over lockdown, which was just a little bit wacky, and I just hope some of those older people realized what I was even doing, or maybe they thought I was the Queen. That would be good. So I'm just it's like a new thing, and we've already done a couple of shows at some freebies at some retirement homes. So I'm just going to keep that up and try and utilize that with my improv somewhere.
Nice.
Do you have any advice for an aspiring actors or actresses?
Just watch a lot of theater. Get a good grounding in. It's interesting that actors who do voice stuff, a lot of them have a stage background, because it means they have a better control of their voice, and they can actually really make their voice big and sort of go to different levels. Where a lot of time TV or movie actresses, they're a little bit more limited in their range. And because I've done so many live improv shows, I've got a good set of pipes that I can try and, hit the back of the wall, basically, fill the room. So my hit is to just get some good stage theater background, and watch a lot of theater, watch people that you think are really good, attend classes, start up your own support group. That's probably really important, because you go to these things, and basically we sort of have a goofy thing that we say you might get something every 15 auditions. That seems to be 15 to 20 auditions. In New Zealand you probably have a lot more auditions going in LA, but that's a fair number of auditions to attend in New Zealand and not get anything. So you're always getting a bit of a knockback. So I think it's just kind of having people that you can have a glass of wine and a laugh with, and diversify. Diversify.
Here, guys. That's great advice from Lori. So my final question for you, Lori, before we go to fan questions, do you have any upcoming projects that you could like to share to us, or if you could tell?
Apparently I've got a part on Cowboy Bebop that's filming here, so that's coming in October.
Oh my god. Really?
Yeah.
I'm a Cowboy fan here. I love Cowboy Bebop. So
yeah. Well, it'll be a very short. I'm like a waitress who's just, sort of like a waitress. But that'll be fun. That'll be a good day. And a lot of my stuff is live. So I've got a couple. We do myself and another woman, a Jane Austen themed. It's a long form. We improvise for an hour we get a couple of bits of info from the audience, and then we go for an hour, and it's a musical. So we have a musician on keyboards and it's a musical. So so we're doing a few shows of that at a lovely wee theater, and then I've got some emceeing work coming up in Wanganui if anyone's coming to New Zealand.
Nice.
So I do sort of a lot of more character emceeing for events. So it's like an Art Deco show I'm doing in Wanganui, but it's a lot of live stuff. So there you go, it's sort of cobbling all together, and I'm teaching at the Actors Lab Studio. One day too many. So that's really it's that sort of stuff and teaching there, which I'm really grateful for, because filming is starting back, but it's slow starting back. We're just fortunate that it's starting back at all.
Right.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, Cowboy Bebop fans, she's gonna be in it. So. So guys, we'll answer your comments, your fan questions right now. So Lori, are you ready for them?
Ready.
Yeah, so Joe Macaulay says, "Go Power Rangers all the way." And then my cousin Sabertina says, "What was your favorite season to film?" So what is your favorite season to film or work on?
Anything where I actually get a part as a character. So, but there's been so few of that. There was that one season, because also in the loop, when we also create the voice for the groups of baddies that the monsters always have their legions of bad guys. We also voiced that, and I don't even know which season it was, but we came up with this. We gargled water, and so basically they liked it, and it was like, oh, cool. Now we're trapped making this bloody noise all season long for this group and of course fighting, charging. So we all had to make sure we didn't sound like turkeys. I don't know what they were. They all sort of, what's that?
Kudabots?
Could have been them, because it was like a and we had to be careful not to make them turkey sounding, because then you'd go off and become turkey sounding, and that was a note we got back, too turkey sounding. So but you see, then they take it and they kind of manipulate it. So and then you go, okay, I guess we did that. So it's kind of like, I'm just happy. I'm going to say every season, frankly. any season I get employed in is my favorite season.
Nice.
So hopefully we see you in the next season, Power Rangers Dino Fury. Hopefully we can see you or hear you.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Maybe they'll go back to Summer Cove High. Summer Cove High, it seemed that, from Ninja Steel, right? The one where you were wearing the wig. It seems like it was like some sort of, a lot of people have theorized that it was like some sort of prep school for, people who are skilled with technology, because, there was the Pink Ranger, she made a machine that made perfect cookies, and Victor and Monty, despite them being bumbling, they were able to invent a lunch machine. So, do you know if there was any of that intentional? If Summer Cove High was a fancy school, or
I don't know, because what happens is that those decisions are made on high. And then they get sent to the person who's going to make the props and stuff and the sets and and then it goes down to the next level and so I just think they were trying to do what they felt their version of an American high school is. Because I know sometimes there's been some signs where I can't even remember, but there was a couple signs where it was like, oh, I don't think that's too Kiwi. That's not American enough. And then, take that down. So because sometimes those set designers or stuff, I mean, they're really good and they're really detail-minded, but sometimes they might miss something. I think they were just trying to make a high school from what I was, But I mean, because it was lovely that they did emphasize kind of like there was like the car section and all of that, which you have to have something like that because you got to have stuff for Power Rangers. You got to just because you have to also make stuff because you got to sell stuff.
Right.
That's
Product placement. You got to like build, stuff that people like. This one. This is my favorite thing.
Oh, sweet.
Oh my gosh.
I love, and he doesn't go anymore. I even actually tried to get the battery. I changed the batteries, but no. But
Right.
It turns into a torpedo launcher.
Oh my god. Those toys don't exist anymore, Lori. You're very rare. They do not exist anymore. Those toys. That's a
Really?
rare toy. Yeah.
Wow, I love that toy. I've had many kids throw it across a room. Yeah, I love that because I just loved that it was a dog and it was a robot.
And did you see the robot bulldog that was in that season?
Yes, and that was the. I quite liked that season. I thought that was quite a groovy season because the guy that played the dog had the head.
John Toohey.
John Toohey.
Because I did his ADR because I was sort of the backup for the ADR supervisor. So he did come in and he had to do a bunch of voicing. He had to voice everything because, of course, you couldn't hear stuff well enough in the head. But that damn head, it caught fire. Once they were filming, it was like smoke was coming out. He's going, it's hot in here. And it's like, oh my God, get that off him. So yeah, something kind of shorted and there was like smoke coming out of it. So yeah, poor guy. That was, really, because there was two guys that were like always somewhere behind him, somewhere doing these controls to manipulate his eyes and his mouth and all this going on. So it was quite a complex little thing that, poor John had to sort of suffer this huge, big thing on his bloody head. And then it all filled up with smoke. And yeah, that was kind of like, get that head off that guy before he, So that was very exciting. When he told me about that, it was like, holy moly. Yeah. No, thank you.
No.
Yeah.
So you had a question from Brandon J. Benfield. What would be your dream role to play, and would you ever do on-camera work?
Yes. Well, I've done those other parts from Power Rangers. Those have been on-camera parts. Yeah. I mean, that's what I would like to get most of. But there's just very few women's parts that are literally written. So, but yeah, dream role would probably just be getting some nice meat, juicy, real part that you could have a range of emotions. Because a lot of times they'll bring in the main actors from overseas, or so what I tend to get are more of the one-dimensional characters, like in Cowboy Bebop. It's kind of like I could do it standing on my head. It's just kind of like what do you want? Kind of, it's like the gum chewing waitress who doesn't, give a rat's ass and is a bit tough and won't take any crap. So, which is kind of one dimensional. It's fun, but you tend to be, it's like a day player, or it's like the 1 day part, which is always a bit tricky because then it's hard to kind of fit in with everything that's already pre-established. So yeah, I'd love a part where I could be on there for weeks,
Right.
Nice.
and then have someone cook me my meals every day and make me coffee. 'Cause you always get really good coffee on set.
Yeah.
Maybe you could come back as
Someone's always coming up to you. Can I get your coffee?
Maybe you can come back as the mentor for Dino Fury.
Love to. Like, I'd love to be like some old, good, crony, old, wise woman that gets to sort of, smash things, fight and do a bit of, kicking butt. I think that would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Just says, what is your favorite memory of working on Lord of the Rings? Oh, Lord of the Rings fan here.
I think it's probably, I went down weeks before and had a hair test costume thing. Got flown from Auckland to Wellington, and then overnighted, which was nice. But I think it was walking onto the set was quite amazing because they had literally shipped like almost 1,000 no, maybe not that, but hundreds and hundreds of trees on these trucks from where they had been filming outside in Matamata in New Zealand. And they basically kind of got these trees and sort of replanted them inside the studio. So it was just quite surreal, kind of walking down hallways, lights, lots very well lit corridors, doors, little signs on doors, just a regular old hallway doors. And then you walk through these big, like almost like a sliding door, like into a barn. And then you were on set. And it was just like the smell of grass and earth and trees was just kind of like, and you were literally outside. And it was just sort of, oh my, okay. It's like, then I went, okay, I'm in a big film now. I'm in a really big film. And there was that sort of sense of, wow. And seeing what they had recreated, the same as in Matamata, that was just kind of mind-blowing that all of this has been recreated from the outside and put inside. And it's like the trees were real trees, and those that weren't, had leaves individually attached. I mean, it was just kind of like, wow. Then it was just like, okay, this is big. Then you really got a, sense of big.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the smell was just, it was just beautiful. It was just like I could just walk in a forest. It was a forest.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was so impressive. It just took my breath away. I had to stop and kind of go, whew. Wow. And I get to be, albeit very small, a tiny little bit in there. So I thought that was a really lovely moment when I went, oh, okay.
Right. Luisa's first saying, if you didn't do Power Rangers, where do you think you would be?
Oh, probably more impoverished as an actor. That's probably. I mean, I would just be doing more acting stuff. Power Rangers is like one arm of what I do, because it's really nice every sort of 3 weeks to go in and do some looping or go for an audition for a voice, and yeah. I mean, it's a big glass of water between the parts, those voice parts. I sort of get one every 2 or 3 years, or, but there was one, I was looking at the dates of the things that I'd done, and there was a big, from 2009 to 2015, I didn't do a voice. So that's a long, but I still did the looping. So that's been a good, that's a really, for an actor to get a gig like that, that's my advice. Get a gig like that. That's an ongoing, and then you always know. And it's great. It's like the five of us, hi, how are you? We get in there, we drink good coffee, shout and scream. And then you say, see you at the next one, bye now.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, I would simply be doing the same, because I've, in taking control of our company, we do corporate entertainment, we do emceeing and team building, and so that's a whole other revenue stream that keeps myself and other actors, we can buy a house, we can buy a car, like real people.
One of Moreno's asked, what is one of your favorite characters do you voice act for?
I think they all sort of kind of blend in. I mean, it's probably horrible me saying that they blend together. But they kind of, I just like to go in there and work with the ADR supervisors to create a voice that we think is kind of cool and really suits the visuals and what the character is doing. That's what I like, that process of maybe a little bit higher, maybe pitch a little bit lower, or too raspy, make it smoother. I quite enjoy that sort of collective kind of working with the person on the other side who's directing, and basically come up with that voice, because there's no rehearsal. You just come in, you've got the sheet with the dialogue, there's the pictures on the TV, and then off you go. So between the two of you, it's a really nice collaborative. I really enjoy that, kind of coming up with what's kind of a cool and groovy voice that is going to really suit,
Yes.
Which really isn't answering the question, but yeah.
Well, guys, we'll do a few more. Terry Decker says, hi, Lori Dungey from Miami, Florida. I love Beeble and Miss Bloom. Aw.
Thank you.
He's also asking, can you do Beeble's voice saying more as a Pink Ranger? Oh, God.
God, what's it sort of? See, I can't even remember.
That's it.
He's sort of like this. Mara, Pink Ranger. Yeah. You're going down. I always love to say that. You're going down. I got you now. You pesky little something or other. Yeah.
I love the part where you're listing off all your crimes, and one of the last one was littering, and Lothar's like, littering, the most underrated of space crime.
I remember that. Oh my God, I remember that.
A few times so you can get a little bit of comedy in there.
My question: what is harder, voice acting or acting on a movie?
Oh, acting on a movie. Just because you've got everyone's kind of, when you're on a movie or TV thing, everyone's looking at you, and if you're part of a collective, like this thing on Cowboy Bebop, I'm going to be kind of sweating because I know they'll probably put my stuff at the end of the day, and they'll want to get through it quick, and you don't want to screw things up, and cause everyone to go into overtime, because that would be disaster. But you just don't want to. You want to be able to walk to where you need to go, probably put the plates down at the right time, saying what you're saying. Who are you looking at? So it's more technical, obviously, to be in a filming a movie or TV. So you've got all these lists of things that you're kind of trying to keep all going at the same time. Am I walking too fast? Am I walking too slow? Am I going to the right spot? Because they'll put tape on the floor, but you can't look, you can't stop and go, oh, there's the tape. So whereas if you're in the booth, you're just kind of free and easy, unless if the producer is there, then there's a bit more tension. But if it's just you and the ADR supervisor and the technician who's doing all these little knob things, it's generally quite enjoyable. And of course, they'll do another take, and then they'll go, are you happy with that? And if you're not happy, then you can do another one. Whereas movie or TV, sometimes you'll do it and you'll go, that wasn't so good. But someone will be saying, moving on, which means, it's in the can. They're taking that one, whatever one. And of course, you might do it 3 or 4 times. You don't know which one they're going to take, because if you're having a smaller part, you're the least important piece of the puzzle. And as long as the main actors are saying what they're supposed to be saying, you're sometimes just acting as exposition, or you're like when I did Young Hercules and all those Xena and Hercules, I called myself, I was a directional hag. I specialized in directional hags, where the main actors would come up and go, which way did they go? And then inevitably I'd be a hag and I would go, they went that way. And then I might say some exposition. I mean, and that's, yeah. So in a way, the movies and the TV stuff, it's more challenging, totally more challenging. But I like the finesse of coming up with a good voice and, you know, keeping it through to the whole script that you've got.
Definitely.
Mhm.
I'll do one more. How was it seeing our Orange Power Ranger they finally made for the first time in history? Oh my God, Kelson.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Yes. Lovely. I just go, there's an actor with another part. Fabulous. So that's really lovely. Because a lot of the Power Rangers that come here, sometimes they come from the States, Canada. Sometimes a couple, one or two might be cast here in New Zealand, but they're all young novice actors, a lot of them. Some do have some experience, but a lot, it's kind of like their first big ongoing part. So, you know, it's a big journey for them in their acting career to kind of learn the craft. You know, it's a great way to learn the craft. And then you go back to LA and you'd be pretty ready to, because we move, the filming is very fast in New Zealand. It's pretty fast. They're efficient and they're fast. So, you know, it teaches some good skills to young actors. So yeah, so good on, you know, I love orange. Orange is one of my favorite colors, so yes.
Yes, definitely. All right,
So you're-
guys. So it looks like you know we get more. Oh, sorry. Can I say?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
All right. So guys, this ends the interview. So Lori, thank you so much for being our special guest.
My pleasure.
Lori. Yes.
My
And Lori,
pleasure.
where can I find you in social?
Yeah, and everyone just, you know, keep safe where you are and be kind to one another. And I know you guys are going through some pretty big things, so thinking of that. So be well, go well, be safe, and, you know, hug someone and see how your neighbor's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that.
Definitely.
So Lori, where can I find you in social media or pages or websites?
Facebook. I'm a bit of probably a dinosaur. I am using WhatsApp, Messenger.
Sorry, come.
Yeah, I don't Twitter. I don't tweet unless it's a voice that's like, you know, Paratella or something. Yeah. So anywhere you just sort of con artists, our company, we sort of post stuff there every now and then. So yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
And where can I find you in social media?
You can find me on Instagram, Brown_K, as well as QR Ranger Book, where I show off this massive Power Ranger scrapbook that I have made. But I do not have it with me, so.
And you can find me on Instagram, DanceBoy247, and please follow us on Morphin Network at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So guys, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Lori. Have a safe Friday here, and safe Saturday there at New Zealand. So thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.